Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you. Of course, we are pleased to be joined by Myles Rowe of USF Pro 2000. Got it. Of course, he'll be driving for Pabst Racing this year in USF Pro. How's it going, buddy?
Feeling good, Casey. How are you?
Doing well. Good to have you back on again. You've been up to a lot of things, and I know it of course had a solid year in USF 2000. Obviously not what you wanted, but overall, heading into this year, it's gonna be fun.
No, totally. Yeah, it's been a good year, man. We've been busy. Yeah, I mean, we were close to winning the championship, but it's okay. You know, things happen, and it was a big learning lesson. You know, and it'll only make me stronger. So I'm excited for next season. You know, we'll just hopefully win a championship bigger and better. Is the way I look at it. Anyway, so yeah, like been busy with setting up these plans for next year, getting some testing in. Just talking to new people, working on new sponsorships, things like that. But it's been going well. I've also enjoyed the off season. Been getting time to spend with friends. Been getting to catch up with my photography and things like that. So that's cool. But yeah, right now I'm just kind of enjoying the next phase and getting to the next chapter of this 2023 season.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, your big announcement. You're going to be back with Pabst, but I know you'll have some support from Force Indy and Penske and all them. And what talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I'll be back with Augie Pabst and Pabst Racing for 2023. It'll actually be the 99 Pabst Racing and Force Indy car, which is cool. So we're bringing the 99 back to bring a tribute to Raja Jack. And yeah, it's going to be great. Force Indy in the race for equality and change, and Penske Entertainment's behind me. And so far, those are the partners we have, and they'll be fueling the fire for the season this next year. And just like last year, I plan on it being pretty exciting and pretty fun. We should be up there. We're showing good pace and testing. The little bit of time I had in the car, I kind of just hopped in and got up to speed really fast. It was not really any problem for me of getting up to speed in the new car, which is great. Always a good sign. So yeah, the fuel is there for the fire next year, definitely.
For sure. When you look at when you were at the Chris Griffiths test a few weeks ago, how was being in the car?
Say one more time.
How was it being in the car when you were testing a few weeks ago?
Yeah, being in the car, man, was amazing. So I did one day at Audubon Country Club up in Joliet, Illinois. And I was able to get my feet wetted in the car. And then we came to Indianapolis right after. And yeah, just everything just blended together so well in terms of how I connected with the track and the new limit of the car from the difference with the turbo and the bigger tires on this chassis. The tire degradation is a lot different. You have so many more laps to get a qualifying lap done in USF 2000. You could have up to 7, 8, sometimes 9 laps in USF 2000. And in this car, it's you have 2, and then you maybe have 3 laps. And if you don't get it done, then you are not getting your lap done, or it's just going to be slow, So, learning new things like that was really cool. And then we struggled a lot with the balance, definitely through the Chris Griffiths test. Yeah, the balance is a little wonky right now, but it's just because, we're setting up new baselines under Pabst. So it's just going to take some work to, basically balance out those baselines. But, once we do that, I think, we'll have a great season, So I think it ran really well, and we had a lot of good positives come from it. A lot of good changes we made in the car. One thing I hate doing is showing up to testing and not making a lot of changes. We definitely didn't do that. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. Testing is one of my most favorite times of the year because I just love bonding with my engineers and, collaborating on, what we can make the car do and how fast we can make it. I love that. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. Just going into, this year after everything that you accomplished last year, what's it going to be like this time around? Of course, you're in a new series. The tracks are somewhat similar, besides going to Sebring.
Yeah.
How exciting is that to go there? How exciting is it to go there this year?
Yeah, Sebring will be cool, man. I mean, we test there every year ever since I got back into racing. In the preseason I test at Sebring. And I love that track. Like some people kind of don't like the area. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of in the middle of nowhere, but the track, and we normally run the short course. I'm pretty sure it's like a minute lap or something like that. But the short course itself is really fun. But I know there's like a good high speed section in the back there, on the back straight before and after the back straightaway, and a couple more corners that like are really cool. I just know it's really bumpy, so I'm really interested on how the cars handle that and how like soft we have to run them and stuff like that. But no, man, I'm excited for it because I've always wanted to run the full course at Sebring. But every time I go there, I run the short course. I run the short course because, you know, open wheel cars, well, in the past they said they couldn't withstand the bumps on the full course. So yeah, we just never ran the full one. So I'm interested to see how that pans out. I don't know if they repaved it or if they just decided, what are we talking about? Open wheel cars can run it. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a first for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. It's of course the big course is for, you know, when the 12 hours of Sebring happens for the IMSA cars. So
yeah,
it should be fun there. But just talk about, you know, let's talk about your photography. How's that been going so far? I know you got.
Oh, dude, it's great. It's great, man. Like, so it got a lot better literally very recently, like over the last 2-3 weeks, because I recently purchased this new flash for my camera. My camera isn't like a crazy huge like DSLR. It's like a really like small, you know, it's really stealthy point and shoot. It's the kind of like you can put it in your pocket sort of a thing, but it's not a normal point and shoot. You have all your settings. You can go full manual, control your ISO, aperture, shutter, all of it. And the crop's really cool. You don't zoom in the lens. You adjust the crop in camera, so you have a specific crop of, like, for example, 35 mil or 50 mil, for example, and it sets it exactly like that for you without losing any quality. And the quality is amazing on that camera. It's really good. So I got this flash for it because there was no built-in flash, and I take a lot of low light photos because I take a lot of photos in the evening. And I got the flash, man, and I've been looking for this kind of texture in my photos for a couple of years, and I finally hit it when I got that flash. And like these photos come out, like the only way I can think of it is like calling it celebrity. Like it gives you that kind of vibe when you take a photo. So anytime I take a photo of my friends now with this flash, it comes out really well. I just took really good Halloween photos of my friends in their costume. My girlfriend just had a birthday actually yesterday, and photos were amazing. I took her to the New York Botanical Garden, and they came out just amazing. They were beautiful. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I just set up this new background, like this new studio backdrop with like some canvas, some different fabrics and things. And I took some photos of my friends there that I'm still working on posting, but I'll be taking more of my friends there. So yeah, I've been doing some more stuff since the off season, since I've had some time to devote some focus into that for sure. And yeah, it's coming out really, really well. Really, really well.
It's fun stuff there. What are you been getting used to? Is there any difference between, you know, the USF car to the USF Pro car?
Yeah, it's subtlety. So it's the same chassis essentially, but you have, you know, different tire dimensions, bigger tires, and then you have turbo in the car as well. And it's a little bit heavier. Can't ignore that. And then obviously bigger wings for more aerodynamics. So essentially going into a standard corner, you're just going to brake a little bit later, brake a little bit harder. And then the thing is you're going to hold the brake longer because you're braking later. Or you're not going to hold it longer, but you're going to hold a high pressure for a longer time. And then essentially you're just going to also release the pressure a lot faster to roll a lot more speed. Essentially just making each part of the corner happen a little bit faster because there's more grip to make that happen. And it's just like a different technique because you can brake a lot later because you have that downforce under braking. You can also accelerate, you know, a lot quicker than you think because you have that grip from the tires and a little bit of aero. But then at the same time, you have to roll the momentum because it's still, even though you have turbo, the car still doesn't spool that quickly. It still doesn't accelerate like that much more than the USF 2000, like we like to think it does. So there's still like a big momentum rule with this car that I didn't realize. You think you can stop and go with this car, but it's not that kind of car yet. You still need to roll a lot of momentum. So it's a lot of late, high pressure, heavy braking, but then also a very fast release to keep momentum and then back on power. So like essentially like turn 7 at the Indianapolis road course. The two different styles my teammate and I were doing. I was literally braking later and accelerating earlier, which you would think would be faster, right? But I was holding too much pressure in the later part of the brake release. I wasn't releasing it fast enough. So I wasn't rolling enough speed. So even though I'm braking later, the little bit of extra mile an hour or two that he gets from momentum, like it made up that much time on the exit. So it's like little nuances like that you have to learn. Obviously in the high speed, you can roll a lot more speed with the downforce. But it's really like learning how to brake really late and hold a high pressure and then release it properly to keep momentum. That's a big difference in the car, I'd say, for me at least.
For sure.
Yeah.
And just really just with this new season and all that, what track are you most excited to go to this year?
Good question. I love that question. Dude, man. I mean, I had a big thing last year. Like I never went to Toronto, so St. Pete was my favorite one, but I knew Toronto was going to be cool, and it was. Toronto was so cool. But after going to Toronto, I must say St. Pete is the one I'm excited for the most, because Toronto is just like really bumpy. It's really, really bumpy. So it's a good track, but it's just like you can't enjoy it that much. You have to focus up a little bit harder and have to be on point a little bit more, which is fun. But in terms of just like the whole weekend and everything combined, everything's a vibe. St. Pete definitely matches because it's a little bit smoother. And yeah, the track definitely matches the area a little bit more. It's cool. It's really cool. So I'm excited for St. Pete. After going through all these races, like St. Pete, normally it's like either the beginning of the season or very close to the beginning. And it's always like a good time there. The crowd is just amazing there. I love the crowd there. Always good weather. And yeah, like I said, it's a proper street course, but it's not too bumpy. And it blends onto like an airstrip. Like that's literally the sickest thing ever. So I'd have to say St. Pete.
That's yeah, of course that opens up the season. Everyone's excited to go to St. Pete. Yeah. And my good friends at Green Savory may have to help me out there. So yeah. So and last coming into this, everything that you went through last season, not winning a championship, and then this year, but it was a good season. But what's it going to be like this year? What's heading in? What are your goals for this year? Because you accomplished a whole lot.
Yeah, man. I mean, even like last year, like my goals, even if I won the championship, like I know my goal wasn't to win the championship last year. And I think that's one key reason why I was so close to winning the championship last year, as weird as that sounds. A championship, like it's like trying to say like, I don't know, I want to make this much money when I'm older. Like there's so many things that determine, that result that are out of your control. So you can't like really make that a goal because there's so many things here that can just, you need to make a goal with something that's with variables that are basically or theoretically all within your control. So things you need to do, you can do and control each weekend, like perform this way or eat this way, or sleep this much or something like that. So like I'm gonna go in with the same mindset this season. I think we can win a championship. I think it's possible. But that's not my goal. What I'm focused on this season in order to make that a possibility is really getting these baselines worked out with Pabst, because I know how crucial it was to show up to the weekend and have a proper car where we barely have to tweak it. And that's half the success, that's engineering, that's team experience, that's the team. Like the team got me there to that championship opportunity last year. And I know we can this year, but I know the Indy Pro is a lot harder it's just got a lot more things going on with it. So that's why you see sometimes in Indy Pro, some teams will be, really good at some places, but then they won't be somewhere else because there's just so many different things you can, tweak for the balance. Some other team just might have that a little bit better for the other weekend. So one thing that we just have to really, figure out in testing is a proper baseline. And like, that's my goal, like just develop the baseline over the year, because I know that's going to be the difference between qualifying mid-pack, qualifying up front, being in a wreck because you're in a mid-pack, and actually getting solid points because you're actually up front. So that's really like, that's it. Like that's the simple goal. I could go into a lot of things, but that's the main thing I'm focused on, if I'm going to be honest.
All right. Well, Myles Rowe, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. Best of luck this season. We're going to have you on we're going to have you on right before the season to kind of bring you.
Totally, dude. Yeah. It's always a pleasure being on here, Casey. Yeah. Thank you.